What's up, fish tank people? FishTankTV.com, DustinsFishTanks.com, bringing it to you on a Sunday, baby. How is everybody doing? Hope you're having an awesome weekend. I know I am. My boy Jackson, one of my original boys from OU, the Ohio University, not Ohio State, came by, is in the mix. He's the original owner of my 125. Ended up selling to me at a deal for like $400 when he was moving to Australia. So that's tight. He's up there running flank on the kids so they don't come in here and interrupt this gorgeous little video I'm about to do for you all. So it's Species Sunday, and I'm going to throw some species at you, but not really get into too much detail because I'm in the middle of a 3-part series. Probably will go on to a 4-part series. And I want to show today something that I've never done before on film. Last week we talked about the stand, the tank, and the filters. This week we're going to talk a little bit about plant selection and aquascaping, but you'll notice I've actually ripped this down, so I'm going to get a little more detail into the gravel I'm using and everything. But I just want to touch on a few things before I get into this tank right here today that last week I just wanted to just clarify a couple things. One, before you get rolling, if you're ever doing a tank, you want to make sure you fill it all the way up and drain it before you start like putting it in your house and all that. I think that's important, especially if you're buying a used tank. I think I mentioned this. You're buying a used tank, make them fill it up on the spot to make sure it holds water. And another thing, if you've ever repaired a tank or using a repaired tank that you've had to like re-silicone or something like that, for me, a repaired tank is like a girlfriend that cheats on you. You can never trust her again. She might be fine, you might be good, but you can never trust her again, in my humble opinion. So just know that that's my 2 cents on that. If you've sealed it up great and it's working good, good for you. Congratulations. So we've talked about that. Today, I want to talk about something that I've never done on video before. I'm pretty excited about it. I want to show how to do like the gravel with 2 different types of gravel, because I think it's a cool look. I think a lot of people see it in these crazy, you know, scapes that have like the valley and like the little white river of sand and all that. And this technique can be used in a number of different ways. You can do like, you know, a valley, you can do like a white river, you can just segment your gravel. But I want to talk about some of the pros and the cons of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wonderful black gravel right here and then pool filter sand on the other side here, and I'm going to create a little bit of a beach like right here. And this can be used, this application is kind of fun because if you had a tank that you were looking at on both sides, you could do like a little curve. I had a 55 in my old office with Cork. I had some of my way old videos had that, and it was slick because you could like see this little beach as you walk by and like walk around it. You could also do it like a little S curve, whatever. But you kind of want to think about that from the start of like how do you really want that, because the planning, it does take a little bit of planning going into it. I'm going to show you how to actually do it. So what are we gaining with this? Well, when we do the 2 contrasts of gravel or whatever, we're gaining a nice contrast. You know, we're gaining freedom of design to do kind of cool stuff with not just one plain gravel. We're not limited to that, so I think that's kind of cool. With this, I'm actually using this black gravel. This is a little easier to keep clean in the dirty tank substrate, so if you have dirt underneath the gravel, the black typically will make it look less messy, so I think I like that. Yeah, just a cleaner look. Some of the things that we're losing though, with this gravel, we're losing the ability to grow as easily. You can still do it, but it's a little harder to grow like the baby tears and the finer roots of the plants in this stuff. Just a little too large. For me, my personal preference is, and this is important, take notes, this is the perfect size gravel for me is like the size of a BB gun BB, okay? So if this was a little smaller, I'd be golden with that. But you can make do with this big stuff. Let's see here. So yeah, what else are we losing? We're losing the flexibility to change colors. Once you're in, you're committed. Ask me how I know about this with the flexibility of changing. The 220 I have set up, I have, it's like brown, white beach, and then black. And I'm committed to that. I have a 220 gallon tank. Now obviously in a 40 tall or 39 if you perfectionists want to hear it. You know, I can whip and replace a little easier. But you do lose a little bit of flexibility with this. The other downside is, and I just want to say this, you do lose that really, like that mixing of gravel. It will happen. So you will have black gravel. Any kind of, you know, most fish could move gravel, or you know, it just happens. Like you're in there, and so your little like white sandy beach isn't always going to look perfect. I'm sorry, it's just not. And if it does, you know, good for you if you can keep it clean. Just know that they'll probably end up mixing over. I have this. My black in my 220 always has some gravel coming over. And just a quick note on like all those aquascapes that you see, those monoscapes, those are amazing. They've got the path, they've got the whole thing. Those don't always look like that, okay? That's a great photo, but like those things do get dirty. So just know that when you see those scapes, like understand that like it's pretty much for a photo, those will that stuff will happen. I mean, it's a tank, so just know that it's not always gonna look perfect. And you run the risk of having the gravel mix. It's just how it is. So the other one downside too is the pool filter sand and lighter sand and stuff gets a little dirtier. It's been known to, I mean, I don't know, it just doesn't look as clean with the dirty tank. If anything comes on top of it that floats, it's not as easy to disguise as it would be with black gravel. So I want to show this though. All you need to do this, I'm using a piece of cardboard here. The ideal stuff to use would be like a thinner like tag board kind of deal where it's like not quite as thick as this, not quite as rigid, but this will work. So I'm gonna roll with this, and then you just kind of want to figure out like, okay, what do I want here? So my brain has been telling me I want to do like a beach over here with like maybe this quarter of the tank, and then I want this big, I want a really big plant coming out here, and then I want a real low scape here. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I want this beach. How am I going to create this beach? Some people might say, well, I want my stuff to like kind of curve and go in. So for me, I'm going to take this like this, and I'm going to set it in the aquarium like so. And this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to roll like this. Now, when I said it would be, I think this is a little too rigid, I'll make it work. So what you do is you set it in here like so, but then you tape it to where you want it to be. Now I'm using electric tape, but it really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure it doesn't shift on you. So I'm going to tape this in here, and this part is a pretty critical part because you want to make sure you got it designed right. So I don't really want this actually to be that far. I kind of want to, that's a little too, I don't want my white obviously would start here, and then my black would start here. But I don't have it deep enough, so I'm just kind of like, all right, so where do I want to go? So I'll probably go over a little bit more here. You really this is the part where you really kind of got to think it through and be like, all right, so what am I going to do? So I'm going to try to go right probably to here. Because once you're in, I mean, you're committed. So take this, move this over just a tad. And I'm really going to just shove this down. I want more beach than that, though. So I'm going to shove this way down. Alright, get that in there like that. And now I'm imagining, okay, I've got my white sandy beach there, and then my dark spot there, and I like that. I think that's going to work. I've got my good arch. I also don't like to take this straight back. I like to have like the eye kind of say, all right, where's that run off to or whatever, so kind of leaves it a little curve behind. So like your eye doesn't just end at the back of the tank, it kind of takes you back, and you'll see that in a lot of the sweet aquascapes. They have it so like your eye just like kind of keeps going and it just like fades back. So that's what I'm doing. Obviously the front part is the most important, so the back, whatever. So I've got this here. So what do we do? We've got, our goal is to fill it with equal sides, and then what we need to do is we need to have rocks selected to soften that, because you can't just have like black gravel and then just white sand, like boom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all of these rocks, and you got to have enough rocks to do it, and I'm going to set these around. Now I'm not going to do it with this scape, but I'm going to show you some of the plants. What you can do is you can tie plants like this to it. So all you need to do is just take some black thread and wrap this around, and that's a very time-consuming thing, but it will give you an awesome look. So you could do, this is narrow leaf Java fern all the way around. I'm going to do Anubias nana petite. I can do in between and on these, which will give us like a nice little soft edge, and I'll show that in a second here, but I've also got some Bulbitis you could use. So those are just some options I'm throwing out, and honestly I don't really know exactly which I want to use in this. I'm going to kind of get it in there and look at it and then make my decisions based on how I'm thinking the tank's going. So let's get into this. I've already got my gravel here. It's already rinsed. You definitely want to rinse your gravel. Just it keeps that like the floating stuff whenever it takes a second. Just rinse it. So the most important part is right here. So forget all this back here. All right. This is there's a little bit of water in there. But our most important part is to make sure, all right, we've got this nailed here. So I'm actually gonna push that down a little bit, down into the dirt. And then we really want to pad this side in here. So we really want to just place it in there. So I'm just gonna take this, set it up on top of here, and really just set it along the cardboard and really get a nice little wall, little barrier, little level. I'm going about 1 inch here with this. And you can go with gravel this size, you can go a little higher on your dirt cap. It's outside of the scope of this video. You can check it out in the Dirty Tank Guide. But I'm going to go about a little more than, at this round I'm only going to go 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to plant some plants, probably in the next video. And then I'm going to add more gravel on top of that. So I want to show this. So I get this rolling here. And I'm just going to go ahead and get the whole Monty going, just to cover up that. Now you'll notice I had the pool filter stand originally all over the top of this. I've since actually just tilted the tank up, moved it all over to the one side. And I'm rolling with the black Estes right here. So got this going. I'm going to take a second, look back, see how we're doing. Alright, so I've got my, you can see I've got about 1 inch here. I want to make sure if I'm using the dirt, I've got it pushed down here. I've got a high level here inside, and I'll show this. I'll grab the camera and show it. Then I want to grab my pool filter sand, which is right here, and I'm going to just pause this in over here. And I'm going to make sure I got my, no, this pool filter sand is actually not the Primo. It's got a little stuff in it, that's alright. I'll just go like this. And, oh, no, see, I see I've got a little dirt action going on over here. So I'm going to stop this right here before we get rolling and get that out of there. Like this. Just push it down and get that out. Mix that up, throw it out in the tank, and then make sure I'm going to cover that. So we're going to make sure that's there. So we've got this nice, see, we're not quite at the same height, so I'm going to keep adding. Keep adding. And you want to make sure your gravel holes, I guess it would be, the two different sizes, are at about the same height. Like so. Because you don't want the one to just like fall in over the other one. So I've got this. That actually worked out pretty well. I had a little clump in here. What's that? So we're rolling like that. I've got this. So I'm going to just pat this in. You can see the levels here. The level here is this. Okay, so I'm going to touch along the side here. Make sure that I'm going to show this here in a second. Alright, so I've got that. So here's where we are. So we've got this right here. And we've got it, okay, and then we like it. We look down. We've got this. And that's how we're rolling. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set this back down for y'all. And I'm going to take it. And I've got my rocks selected. I love these round rocks right here. And I've got these, and you want to make sure you have enough of these. Now what you could do is, like I said, you could tie the bulbitis to it to kind of soften that. You could tie the Anubias Nana Petite to it. Stargani ribbons you put in between because that's a heavy root feeder. I actually am just now falling in love with this plant. I know I'm late to the game on it. It's a sick plant. I do have it for sale. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to rinse my hand off. And I'm going to double check. Alright, my levels are good here. They're about the same. Rinse the hand again. And I'm going to pull this piece of cardboard up and out of here. I'm going to take the tape off. Throw the tape aside. Pull that off. Alright, so now we've got that. you all can see that. And then what I'm going to do to soften the edge, I'm just going to take these rocks and I'm going to set them along the edge here. Now you can get crazy with the rocks. I like these big round ones. I think attaching Java fern to them would be nice. But I'm just going to go around like this and kind of just make sure this isn't falling in on it. Ooh, too much cool footer sand on the one side. Just kind of set these around on here like this and kind of just create a little barrier there. Now you'll notice I don't have all of my gravel in here, and the reason for that is I'm going to come back in the next video and show you how I'm going to aquascape this. But I'm liking where this is going. I've got my rocks in here. I don't have all of my gravel in because I want to be able to easier plant the plants in there. I also need to add some more water because the dirt is dried out so I can get the plant's roots down into the dirt. But this is where I am, and I just want to show as little, like next week I'm going to show you more about this. But I mean, you can get, you know, some nice, I mean, without even tying it to it, you can go, and I put the bulbitis in the front. I'll actually move that so you guys can see. Like there along the edges, you can tie these. Anubias, this is a nice spot for Anubias because you can put Anubias on the rock. It will affix to the rock, and then you can shove the roots, not the rhizome, but the roots down into the substrate here. So this is actually how I've been really successful growing Anubias in my 125 for a long time. Again, rhizome not in the dirt, the roots go down into the dirt. I've got that, and then also, this is regular baby tears, not dwarf baby tears, and I talk a lot about this in the Dirted Tank Guide. If you have the time, you could plant this one by one by one, and you'll see I just kind of messed up here. See how easily that happens? So I want to show, just gotta get those on out of there. So those are out, it happens, but I could do this all along the edge here and kind of come up. So I haven't really decided yet. I wanted to show you guys this because I think this is kind of a slick way to do it. I wouldn't do this if it was your first tank. But just kind of get the mind going of, all right, how can I make this transition here? So I might do the baby tears, I might do the narrow Java fern. So you can really get like a cool, and this actually looks real sick when you have the Java fern kind of come off there. So that's what I'm doing. You know, welcome new subscribers. Thanks everybody checking out this series. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe. Get on Dustin'sFishTanks.com, the link below. Get those top 10 planting tips. I'm doing an insane sale later today. So you want to get on there and get that email. Know what's going on. Got a lot of new plants, obviously. And I'm having a blast. So I hope you're having an awesome week. Stay tuned next week to this series where I'm going to aquascape this whole thing. Bring in the piece of driftwood that I'm having a tough time getting to stop floating. And yeah, everyone make it an awesome week and an awesome day. Love you. Tank on, fish tank people. Later!